Alright, so lately, core sets have been incredibly meta-defining. From Fiendsmith to Tempai Dragon to Purulia to a lot of different support for many different decks. They really impacted the meta. So today we're going to be taking a look at all of the decks getting boosted by Rage of the Abyss, the newest core set coming out in about 2 weeks' time. I know it's going to have a huge impact on the meta, so let me know what you're going to be picking up for the next format. Share all of your thoughts in the comments and like the video because it really helps the channel. So before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. Please ignore everything that's going on up here because I haven't gotten around to washing my hair just yet, so I know I look messy, but you know, priorities. The video is first place on my list of things to do right now, so that's what we're gonna do, and just try to ignore everything up here. Of course, we cannot mention this set without talking about Azamina. Now, this archetype is insane. It is just insane and is going to be boosting up quite a lot of different decks, actually. And together with Azamina, I also want to mention Fiendsmith. So, Fiendsmith, the Lacrima Scarlet Sorrow card, which is pretty much treated as a Fiendsmith card, so part of that archetype is going to be boosting any deck that's playing Fiendsmith right now. What I love about this card is that you can bring it out with Requiem and it bridges you to Fiendsmith Engraver, meaning you immediately have more bodies to work with. And when it comes to Azamina, TLDR is this is an archetype that's going to be able to cheat out an Omni Negate early, meaning that if you play Snake Eyes, if you play, for example, even White Forest could probably use this because it is kind of part of that archetype. If you look at the lore, the pictures, the names, it merges into that theme. So I'm pretty sure there are going to be White Forest, maybe toy variants out there also featuring the Azamina cards, but cheating out an Omni Negate so all of your plays are protected is incredibly, incredibly valuable. And of course, what they do is they ban Omni Negate so they can print new ones. We already know this. Baron is gone, Savage is gone, and now they printed Azamina and gave us a new Omni Negate, so all of your Snake Eye plays can go through. And of course, you also include Fiendsmith, so needless to say, this deck is probably going to be tier 0. And when it comes to everything playing Fiendsmith, for example, Yubel is also going to be able to incorporate Lacrima in the deck. So moving on, because we have a lot of decks to talk about, but this is like pretty much the gist of Azamina cards. But if you're looking to, you know, have more information, and if you would want me to talk more in depth about Azamina and the top meta decks and how to beat them, what to do against them, I would love to make that type of content, so please let me know down in the comments. But moving on to the next deck getting boosted by this set, it's actually going to be Tempai Dragon. And it's not Tempai Dragon support, it is Mulcharmi Fuvaros. And I already talked about this card on the channel quite a lot. It's gonna be definitely game-changing. It is better than Purulia in my opinion, because Purulia only gives you draws when your opponent normal or special summons from the hand, which is a little more niche than what Fuvaros is doing. And why it's so incredible in Tempai Dragon is if you read the card, it only works going second, or I would say it works best going second. But Tempai Dragon, its field going first is pretty much Sphere's pass. It is not that impactful, but you have some hand traps in your hand to kind of carry you through, and then you can bring out Quackimero Drago, which is incredible. However, what you can do right now is once you pass and during the opponent's turn you use Spheres, it tributes itself for cost, so your field is empty if that's how you play it out. And then you can chain Fuvaros because you control no cards. And then in a new chain, Spheres is going to summon something. So in that little niche situation, you can get a lot of value off of this card, and it's going to be incredible in Tempai Dragon. And when it comes to this particular deck, as well as another one, actually, it's going to be Labyrinth, the card, the Dominus Impulse, is going to be very, very good. It specifically locks you out of effects of light, earth, and wind monsters if you use it from the hand. It's pretty much a hand trap that when a card or effect is activated and includes an effect that special summons a monster, you get to negate the effect, and if you have a trap in the grave, you also get to destroy the card. Because it locks you out of those effects, not every single deck is going to be able to play it. However, Tempai Dragon and Labyrinth in particular don't really care about that, and they are meta contenders. And there is also some other decks that are going to benefit from this card, which is actually going to be the third topic today. It's water decks. I decided to include sharks and mermaids together because a lot of decks are receiving support and I want to cover as much ground as possible. So when it comes to sharks, obviously being a water deck, they can abuse Dominus Impulse. they are getting quite a lot of support. Now, if you know me, I really despise sharks. I just really dislike them. I don't want to get into that too in depth, but of course we have got to show some respect for sharks today and, talk about this support. So Surfacing Big Jaws is one of the cards that is part of a lot of combos, and if we quickly read through it, if this card is used for the Xyz summon of a water monster, it can be treated as level 3 or 5, and during your main phase, if a spell card was activated this turn, you're able to special summon it from the hand, and then you're locked from special summoning anything but Xyz monsters from the extra deck, and if it's normal or special summon, you're able to add a fish shark monster from your deck to your hand. So free special also searches and can manipulate its level. Now, there are a lot of support cards. Let's talk about Drake Shark. If it's added to the hand, except by drawing it, you're able to special summon it. And that's something that they've been doing with Poplar as well as Genroku. And I actually kind of like this, but not for sharks because they have a lot of extenders. But, it can be treated as 2 materials for the Xyz summon of a water monster that uses 3 or more materials. So this is also like just making things easier for sharks. And a Shark Drake Xyz monster that has this as material gains an additional effect. So again, just very, very solid support. And of course, you're able to rely on Bahamut Shark and Toad and just make quite a lot of monsters. Actually, like you build a solid board. You can also use Leverchu Dragon, which needs 2 level 3 monsters as material, which, with the help of Surfacing Big Jaws, you're able to treat it as a level 3, which is great. There's a lot that you can do with this card, and you can also use it in the Mermaid deck, which is receiving some support. But let's also talk about the number C32 Shark Drake Leviathan. Needs 4 level 5 monsters. You can Xyz summon it by discarding 1 spell and using a rank 4 Shark Drake Xyz monster you control. Usually you cheat out those Xyz monsters that way. You can attach 1 material from this card, target an effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effect. You can also part of the effect is changing its attack and defense to 0, which is great. It's able to make a second attack. If it attacks a defense position monster, you're able to pierce. I don't know, Shark is getting a lot of support, that's all I'm gonna say, but I don't want to spend too much time on that because we also have to talk about Mermaid, which the Mermaid combos are gonna go kind of insane, actually, and I'm kind of afraid of Mulinglacia. Abyss Shrine, the Atlantean Spirit, is one of the support cards. It's treated as a Mermaid card. And then we also have Mermaid Shadow Bodyguards. Both of them are going to be incredibly relevant for all of the combos. And like I said before, you're able to utilize the Leverchu Dragon as well. You have a new Link monster, Niptabis, the Royal Mermaid. Link 3 has to include a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster as material. There's also Abyss Sting of Triaina. So let's read this spell card. Special summon an Atlantean or Mermaid monster from your hand or grave. If you do, you equip it with this card, and then you're able to kind of protect it from destruction by battle or card effect with this card. You can banish this card from the graveyard, target up to 3 fish, sea serpent, and or aqua monsters in the graveyard or banishment, shuffle them into the deck, so you can also replenish some of your resources. I'm pretty sure both of these decks are not going to be that meta relevant, but they are going to have some kind of impact at least, and they are going to be very solid role contenders in my opinion, and of course utilizing Dominus Impulse as well. So yeah, that's actually kind of nice. There's also Poseidon Abyss, the Atlantean Dragon Deity. I'll have this one on the screen as well so you can read through it. And now let's move away from some of this water stuff and let's talk about Centurion. There are a couple of Centurion support cards. Mainly I want to focus on the Synchro, but we also have a Centurion Chimelia, level 4 effect monster. The Synchro, though, I think is kind of nice. So it's a level 8 Synchro, which if it's Synchro summoned, you can add an Emblema card from your deck or grave to your hand, and then you can destroy 1 card on both players' fields, which is great because the Emblema card for Centurion is obviously a great extender. So I love that with Centurion, they're giving them actual relevant Synchros, so the deck does not need to be reliant on, the Synchro we all love to hate that is now banned. Calamity, of course. And yeah, I just think it's nice that this deck can actually be solid with all of the support. So if a face-up Centurion card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you're able to special summon this card from the graveyard, and then if it's summoned from the grave, it actually cannot be destroyed by battle. So you can only destroy by battle if it's summoned from the extra deck. So it's like an actual good card, 26 500 attack that cannot be dealt with that easily, and on Synchro Summon, of course, also gets you some resources. So I think Centurion is like gonna be tier 2, top of Rogue, something like that. But you know, for everyone that enjoys this deck, I think that's kind of nice. And next up, I also want to talk about 6 Samurai. So this deck is receiving quite a bit of support, and I have looked into it, and of course I'll talk about it right now. But if you're an enthusiast of 6 Samurai, I would love to know what you think of this support, because I know there are 6 Sam lovers out there. So please let me know in the comments if this support, in your opinion, is actually going to make this deck viable. So let's talk about Instructor of the 6 Samurai. If you control a 6 Samurai monster other than itself, you're able to special summon it from the hand. Of course, if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you're able to add a 6 strike card from your deck to your hand, and it grants an additional effect to a Synchro Summon monster using this as material. So a 6 strike that you're able to search is 6 strike double assault. Apply one of these effects, or if you control 2 or more 6 Sam monsters, you can apply both in sequence. Special summon a 6 Samurai monster with 2000 or less attack from your hand or grave, and you can also change one monster your opponent controls with 2000 or less attack to face down defense position. And during your main phase, you're able to banish this card from the grave, target a 6 Samurai monster in your grave, add it to your hand. And let's talk about Anarchist Monk of the 6 Samurai as well. Also free special summon, of course. And if it's sent from the field to the grave, you're able to add a 6 Samurai quick play spell from your deck to your hand. So yeah, you know, it actually ties a lot of these things together. And then I also want to talk about 2 synchros, which in my opinion are the best part of this support, because they actually have solid effects that can make them a little more relevant in a meta that's like extremely just fast, and you have to have a lot of effects that prevent your opponent from playing, unfortunately. If legendary Klesha 6 Samurai Shien is synchro summoned, you can add a 6 Samurai monster or Shien effect monster from your deck or grave to your hand, and once per turn when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, destroy that monster. If this card on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you're able to destroy a monster you control instead. So it's not that easy to deal with, and then you know your opponent is going to be able to negate something on the following turn as well if you don't deal with this card. And the legendary Klesha 6 Samurai Enishi, warrior monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense during the battle phase only. It says during the battle phase, meaning that even if I was to attack you and you're playing 6 Sam, they're also going to get 500 boost, which is cool. If it's synchro summon, you can banish any number of 6 Sam monsters from your grave, target that many monsters your opponent controls, return them to the hand. So pushing into a board is never easy, but it's gonna be made a little easier with the help of this card. And just overall, also, if it's sent to the grave, you can special summon one of your banished 6 Sam monsters, so that's cool. Also, overall, I feel like I like legacy support. Like, I think it's good for archetypes to receive support, even if it's not gonna make them that meta relevant. It's still cool that an archetype is not just forgotten, and that's pretty much the vibe I'm getting from 6 Samurai. Before we round off today's video, I also wanted to give an honorable mention, a quick shout out to Memento, because Memento receives some support and it can actually utilize Goblin Biker support. So Goblin Biker Grand Imprisonment is obviously a Goblin Biker card. However, tribute one monster, special summon one Goblin monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn, and it has some additional effects as well. But it ties together the Memento archetype together with Goblin Biker, and I don't know if it's gonna see play, but it is an option. And as for the actual Memento Tlan support, it's Memento Tlan Akihiron. If it's normal or special summon, you can activate this effect. Level 9 or higher Memento monsters can attack directly this turn. If it's destroyed by card effect, you can target one other Memento card in your grave or banishment, add it to your hand. So again, replenishes resources, just like a lot of cards we talked about today. If a Memento monster in your hand or face-up field is destroyed by battle or card effect, while it's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. So it gives you a resource, you're able to special summon it, and if it is summoned, you can activate the effect of being able to attack directly this turn. So it actually does quite a lot. I'm pretty sure it's gonna see play, and I know people are already developing combos. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to Memento. So with that, hopefully I haven't gone through all of these cards too quickly, but I just really wanted to talk about everything this set is able to bring. And yeah, I guess all in all, I'm a little scared of facing Mermail, which I'm always kind of scared of facing Mermail, low-key. But Azamina is going to be insane. It's going to boost up Seikai. We're going into a tier 0 format, probably. But there's going to be a couple cool decks out there. Probably Rogue, though, that received support, and you might encounter them at an event. So I think it's important to know about all of the support and everything that they are able to accomplish right now once Rage of the Abyss drops, of course. So let me know which archetype you are most excited about from ROTA. And if you like the video, of course, make sure to like it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.